Although journalists talk glibly about internet time, suggesting a fast-paced, nearly instant, worldwide global change mechanism, in fact, today's internet has its start about 55 years ago and has slowly evolved since then. The history of the internet can be segmented into three phases. During the innovation phase, from 1961 to 1974, the fundamental building blocks of the internet were conceptualized and then implemented. During the institutionalization phase, from 1975 to 1995, large institutions provide funding and legitimization for the fledgling internet. During the commercialization phase, from 1995 to the present, the US government encouraged private corporations to take over and expand the internet backbone, as well as local service beyond military installations and college campuses to the rest of the population around the world. It is from here that e-commerce started to grow. One of the key technology concepts was packet switching. Packet switching is a method of slicing digital messages into discrete units called packets, sending the packets along different communication paths as they become available, and then reassembling the packets when they arrive at their destination. However, because of the receipt of each packet is acknowledged by the receiving computer for a considerable amount of time, the network is not passing information, only acknowledgements, producing a delay called latency. Another technology was TCP/IP. TCP establishes the connections among sending and receiving computers and makes sure that packets sent by one computer are received in the same sequence without any packets missing. IP provides the Internet's addressing scheme and is responsible for the actual delivery of the packets. The IP addressing scheme answers the question, how can billions of computers attached to the Internet communicate with one another? The answer is that every computer connected to the Internet must be assigned an address. There are two versions of IP currently in use, IPv4 and IPv6. An IP address can be represented by a natural language convention called a domain name. The domain name system allows expressions such as cnet.com to stand for numeric IP address, URL, which is the address used by a web browser to identify the location of content on the web. An example of this can be seen here. Client-server computing is the model computing in which client computers are connected in a network with one or more servers, which are computers that are dedicated to perform common functions that the client computers need, such as file storage, software applications, printing, and internet access. The internet is a giant example of client-server computing. Client-server computing has many advantages over centralized mainframe computing. For instance, it is easy to expand capacity by adding servers and clients. Other advantages can be seen on the slide as well. The Internet structure today comprises of three layers. The first is the Internet backbone. Originally, the Internet had a single backbone, but today's Internet is woven together from numerous privately owned networks comprised of high-bandwidth fiber optic cables that are physically connected with each other. The backbone has built-in redundancy so that if one part breaks down, data can be rerouted to another part of the backbone. The second layer is Internet exchange points. These are regional hubs where Tier 1 ISPs physically connect with one another. The third layers are Tier 3 ISP. These firms provide the lowest level of service by leasing internet access to homeowners, small businesses, and some large institutions.
Though demand for better internet is ever growing, much of the internet's current infrastructure is several decades old, so it suffers from a number of old-ages problems. One of them is the bandwidth being insufficient to host current internet traffic, resulting in slow peak hour service and a limited ability to handle high volume of video and voice media. There are still improvements to be made to the quality of service, like reducing latency in online content delivery. Network architecture also has shortcomings. Lastly, the internet is still largely based on cable. Copper cables use centuries-old technology, and fiber optic cable is expensive to place underground. The wired nature of the internet restricts mobility of users. Wireless is seen as a placeholder for this solution. For a better future for internet, evolution have to be made. Among the most significant steps we're taking is the Internet 2 project to develop and test new technologies for potential use on the internet. Other groups are expanding their efforts on internet bandwidth via improvements to fiber optics and replacing existing copper cabling because fiber optics can transmit much more data at faster speed with less interference and better data security. Wireless internet is providing access to the user's home, office, smartphone, anywhere they're located. Today, the sales of desktop computers have been eclipsed by sales of smartphones and ultra-mobile laptops with built-in wireless functionality. New methods of providing internet access to areas unreachable by current network are being explored, such as satellite link and hotspot drone. Some of the major benefits to this technological advancement include latency solution, guaranteed service level, lower error rates, and declining costs. Widespread wireless access to the internet will also essentially double or even triple the size of the online shopping market space because consumers will be able to shop and make purchases just about anywhere. No discussion of the future internet would be complete without mentioning the Internet of Things. Internet technology is spreading beyond computers, beyond smartphones, to just about anything that can be equipped with sensors that can collect data and connect to the internet. Despite all of Internet of Things activities, their ability to operate in conjunction with each other remains a major concern. Many organizations are working against each other to create the standards for the rest of the industry to follow. Other concerns include security and privacy. Next in our discussion is the World Wide Web, because without the web there would be no e-commerce. The invention of the web brought an extraordinary expansion of digital services needed to establish a commercial marketplace available to non-technical computer users worldwide.
In this part, we will be finding out essential parts of a web. First is hypertext. Hypertext is a way of formatting pages with embedded links that connects the documents to one another and also link pages to other objects such as sound, video, or animation files. When you click on a graphic or a video plays, you have clicked on a hyperlink. HTML provides web page designers with a fixed set of markup tags that are used to format a web page. When these tags are inserted into a web page, they are read by the browsers and interpreted into a page display. HTML defines the structure and the style of a document, including the headings, graphic positioning, tables, and text formatting. Since its introduction, the major browsers have continuously added features to HTML to enable programmers to further refine their page layouts. Unfortunately, some browser enhancements may only work in one company's browser. Whenever you build an e-commerce site, you should take care that the browsers can view your pages, even outdated ones. Web servers and clients. Web server software refers to the software that enables a computer to deliver web pages written in HTML to client computers on a network that requests this service by sending an HTTP request. Apache, which works with Linux and Unix operating system, is the most commonly used type of web server software. Microsoft Internet Information Services, IIS, also has significant market share. Aside from the generic web server software packages, there are actually many types of specialized servers on the web, from database servers that access specific information within the database, to ad servers that deliver targeted banner ads, to mail servers that provide email messages, and video servers that provide video clips. A web client, on the other hand, is any computing device attached to the internet that is capable of making HTTP requests and display HTML pages. The most common client is a Windows or Macintosh desktop computer, with the various flavors of Unix and Linux computers a distant third. However, the fastest growing category of web clients is not computers at all, but mobile devices. In general, a web client can be any device, including a printer, refrigerator, or automobile instrument panel, capable of sending and receiving information from a web server. A web browser is a software program whose primary purpose is to display web pages. Browsers also have added features such as email and news groups.
Now we will talk about the application and features of the Internet and the web. The Internet and the web has spawned a number of powerful software applications upon which the foundations of e-commerce are built. One of these services is the communication tools that enable people around the globe to communicate with one another. Since its earliest days, electronic mail has been the most used application of the Internet. Worldwide, there are over 2.6 billion email users, sending over 2.15 billion emails a day. Another example for communication tools is IM or instant messaging, which allows you to send messages in real time, unlike email which has a time lag of several seconds. And although text remains the primary communication mechanisms in IM, more advanced systems also provide voice and video chat functionality. Some mobile messaging apps such as Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Viber, and others have also become widely popular, providing competition for both traditional desktop IM system and SMS text messaging. Internet video conferencing is accessible to anyone with a broadband internet connection and a web camera. The most widely used web conferencing apps include Zoom, Teams, Skype, which have been more popular during the COVID-19 pandemic. The second service offered by the Internet and the web is search engines. Search engines identify web pages that appear to match keywords entered by users and then provide a list of best matches. Almost 85% of US Internet users regularly use search engines, and they generate around 16 billion queries a month on desktop computers, about 10.2 billion of which are conducted using Google. Desktop search volume is declining as more and more search activity moves to mobile devices. Then, the downloadable and streaming media. These five are not only commonplace, but today constitute the majority of web traffic. Streaming media is an alternative to downloaded media. Another popular one is the social networks. It has developed very large worldwide audiences with over 2.3 billion people in 1916, which account for almost one-third of the world population, and form the basis for new advertising platforms for social e-commerce. Some largest social networks are Facebook, with more than 2.7 billion monthly active users worldwide, YouTube and Instagram. In 2016, virtual reality and augmented reality technologies began to attract significant attention. Virtual reality involves fully immersing users within a virtual world, typically through the use of head-mounted display and other devices that enable users to feel as if they are actually present within the virtual world. Augmented reality involves overlaying virtual objects over the real world. Perhaps the highest profile use of AR thus far has been its use in Nintendo Pokemon Go game. Other uses include Snapchat's lenses feature that allow users to augment their selfies and try before you buy apps created for beauty and fashion brands. The idea of having an interactive conversation with a computer, having it understand you and be able to carry out tasks has long been a part of science fiction, but has now become reality with intelligent personal assistants. The most popular assistants include Siri, Google Assistant, and Alexa. Last but not least, mobile apps, the next big thing. In July 2008, Apple introduced the App Store, which provides a platform for the distribution and sales of apps. Around the same time, Google was developing Android as an open-source operating system for mobile devices. In October 2008, the first smartphone using Android was released. Google launched the Android market, now called the Google Play, as the official app store for Android. The mobile app phenomenon has spawned a new digital ecosystem. Tens of thousands of developers and millions of consumers now using a mobile devices to replace their desktop computer and act as a digital media center as well. In the United Kingdom, adults spend almost 2 hours using mobile apps. Over 80% of their entire time they spend using their mobile devices for non-voice related activities. More consumers are opting to consume media on their phones and tablet computers than ever before, which is more good news for apps developers. the implications of the app ecosystem for e-commerce are significant. The smartphone in your pocket or the tablet computer on your lap becomes an always present shopping tool for consumers, as well as an entirely new marketing and advertising platform for vendors. Early e-commerce applications using desktop and laptops were celebrated as allowing people to shop in their pajamas. Smartphones and tablets extend this range to office desktop, to trains, planes, and cars. You can shop anywhere, shop everywhere, and shop all the time, in between talking, texting, watching videos, and listening to music. Almost all the top 100 brands have a presence in at least one of the major app stores, and more than 90% have an app in the Apple App Store. Retail e-commerce in the EU5 is expected to generate almost €70 billion in 2016.